tunaweza kuketi. Basi Commissioner General of Prisons, Rehabilitation General Yoba, Secretary Probation and Aftercare Services, Dr. Bondi, representative of the CA, Justice Lilian Mutende, and National Community Service Order Chairperson, our Secretary Administration, all government senior officers who are here, all protocol observed. Allow me, sir, to now welcome Secretary Administration, Mr. Wanjoi, to continue with the rest of the program.
Good morning. It's a cold morning, a bright morning, a rainy day, and when we see that we say amen because we know Kenya tutakuwa na shibe. Si kweli? Na tumshukuru Mwenyezi Mungu kwa haya. Commissioner General, Kenya Prison Service, the Secretary, Probation and Aftercare Service, Lady Justice, Honorable Justice Mutende, all the senior officers in the State Department of Correctional Services, starting with the headquarters, Kenya Prison Service, and Probation and Aftercare Service, our valued partners, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Mine is very brief. It's on behalf of the Principal Secretary to welcome you to Correctional Services Week 2023. I believe, and Commissioner General, you can correct me, other than Kenya Defense Forces who have had a day, in the civil service, I believe we are the first state department to have Correctional Services Week, courtesy of our Principal Secretary. And I want, at the very forefront, to say thank you, and probably the Judicial and Justice, you'll correct me also, they may have had a Correctional Day service. But in the mainstream civil service, I believe we are the first state department to have Correctional Services Week, and a week dedicated to showcasing what and the services we offer in rehabilitating, reforming, and reintegrating those who have been in conflict with the law back to society. This is a unique moment that we have. We have an exhibition that will be running throughout the week. And I wish to request now that those who are at the exhibition, because we want to start our first session, we leave one person per every stand. The rest of us can come in so that we can start today's program. As I said earlier, mine is to say karibu on behalf of the Principal Secretary. And just to mention that our program runs for 3 days. This morning, we start with the first session immediately after this. On behalf of the Principal Secretary, after this session, I will invite all of us for lunch at Tintin Restaurant. After which, this afternoon, we come back after lunch at 2 p.m. so that we can continue with the official opening ceremony. We are all welcome for lunch after this session. And after that, we come back and continue with the afternoon session. And so without further ado, program coordinators, kindly take us to the next session. Na karibuni sana. Asante, God bless you.
Thank you so much, sir, for that brief introduction. Kindly let us applaud the Secretary of Administration with one round of applause. Yes, thank you so much. Now, without much ado, we wait as the Commissioner General is consulting. Thank you so much, sir. Yes, the next session is panel discussion on youth empowerment through skills acquisition for market competitiveness and crime prevention. And without much ado, I want us to welcome on the stage the moderator of this session, Mr. Peter Ouko, Executive Director, Crime CPOA. Makofi kwa Ouko. Welcome, Mr. Ouko. Thank you so much.
Distinguished guests, Commissioner General of Prison, Director of Probation and Aftercare, Madam Justice Mutende, all senior officers present, all protocols observed, and my former lecturers. Mine is to introduce this very important discussion for today. A couple of years ago, if I may just take you back into history, the prisons department was not what we see it to be today. Prior to 2003, the prisons department was thought of or perceived as a torture, as a punishment chamber. In 2002, at the end of it in 2003, this is one department that took a deliberate effort, a deliberate move to change the story, to change the narrative. The theme back then was moving from punishment to correction and rehabilitation. The prisons department, and I'm speaking on behalf of the prison, from the prisons department perspective, even before I speak about the correctional services. The prisons department deliberately decided to work towards being a correctional service of excellence in Africa and beyond. They gave themselves a very lofty target. And today as we sit here, it's with great joy that I'm moderating this session of the first Correctional Services Week, not only as a moderator, but also as a witness to that journey that is being celebrated today. The Probation and Aftercare Department, on the other hand, is one cog in the wheel that has been very responsive and worked in partnership towards the administration of justice for persons who've been in conflict with the law. So ladies and gentlemen, as I come today before you, my name is Peter Ouko. I happen to manage an organization that also bears the distinct identity of being the first NGO to have been formed beyond bars. Crime CPOA was actually formed on the death row of Kamiti Maximum Security Prison in 2007. As we talk about this topic today, let's pause for a moment and think, if we didn't have the support from the prisons and aftercare departments as an organization, where would we be? Whereas today, as Crime CPOA, we are working in 10 counties in this country. We are working in 15 prisons. We are working in 30 schools. We are working in many communities in the field of access to justice, youth empowerment, and community development. So allow me, just as I know I'm conflicted because I'm a beneficiary, but I'm going to moderate the session as per the topic and the theme that we have. And we come back to why we are here today. We are talking about promoting holistic rehabilitation and reintegration approaches for sustainability and economic growth. We are not just looking at today. And that's why I have the distinct privilege and honor to welcome you to this session as I welcome my colleagues who will be joining me here. The first is my brother, Macharia Anubi. I'll ask him to come and take a seat here. Let's give him an applause. Macharia gained his skills in Kamiti and in the other prisons where we are at. And he's coming to talk about his journey post-release. whether the skills that we say are offered within the department are actually helping, or it's just a vibe that we keep giving. Karibu sana Macharia. The second person I'm going to invite is Betty Kako here. Is Betty Kako here from CLISTAT here? Let's give Betty. Karibu sana Betty. Betty is joining us here. I'm going to invite Dr. Flores Mweni from Professional Aftercare Services also to join us. I'm going to invite one of my mentors, Mr. Peter Njoroge, also to join us from the Kenya Prison Service. From Kenya Private Sector Alliance, we have Mr. Peter, we have Shiro Waweru. I don't know, Shiro, right? Let's give Shiro a round of applause. And finally, I'm going to invite Dr. Margaret Mutemi, Director of Education, to join us as well. Dr. Margaret Mutemi, Karibu. So thank you once again, the panelists and our audience. We're going to have a very interactive session where first we're going to give the panelists an opportunity to introduce themselves, and then after that, we're going to open the session to the plenary as well. So you'll be free to ask questions and interact with the panelists. And I'll encourage our panelists to be as open, as robust as you can, because we are showcasing what we have, and we're also speaking to, we're speaking from our hearts on the reality of what we've gone through and also what's really happening in the Correctional Services Department. So without much further ado, I'll ask from this side, I'll give each of you just a minute to introduce yourselves, what you do, and just 1 minute, just about yourself.
Good morning, everybody. Give me your earnest greetings from wherever you are. Exactly. Hiyo inamaanisha sasa tuko pamoja. Naitwa James Masharia Anubi. Nimefurahia kuwa hapa siku ya leo na
For those who don't understand Kiswahili, I'm not sure if we have an interpreter, but I can do it. I'm James Masharia Anubi.
Yeah, I've been in prison for 15 years in Kamiti Maximum Prison. But I thank God that a day came and I am out now. Najua tutaongea na tutabarikiwa pamoja.
So what do you do?
What I do now, I do cushion making, and I train it in Kamiti Maximum Prison. Hata nimeongea na ule aoneshe picha zile kazi nimefanya baada ya kutoka, sika ataonesha ule ako kwa projector.
So I've also told the person on the projector to share the work that I'm currently doing wherever I am. I learned cushion making while in Kamiti Prison. Thank you, James. Thank you so much. Madam?
Good morning, my colleagues and stakeholders. My name is Dr. Flores Mweni. I am an Assistant Director of Probation and Aftercare Service, and I'm responsible for rehabilitation of offenders with special needs.
Good morning, everybody. God is good, and all the time. My name is Peter Njoroge. I'm Assistant Commissioner General of Prisons and Director Prison Enterprise. I've been in this enterprise for the last 36 years. So I believe that as we talk about rehabilitation through vocational training, I think I'm fairly placed, or I'm in my right place where what I've been doing throughout my life in employment. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Betty Kaguya, formerly imprisoned woman from Kaplangata. Currently, I'm working, I have my own business, which I started in 2020, post-imprisonment, and it's doing quite well. Thank you.
Good morning, all. Sorry to break protocol. Could this kindly be put down just for benefit of this site, so we can all see each other? Is somebody able to help us put this down? Beautiful. My name is Shiro Wawero Waidaka. I sit on the board of Kenya Association of Manufacturers. So we're here in the capacity as CAM. I am what a combination of skills looks like. I am what CBC looks like. I make things. We call them things in Kenya, but the right word is we are manufacturers. Everything we're sitting on, from the cushions to the products, are designed and made. So without skills, we cannot make anything, period. I've been to committee, I've seen the amazing workmanship done. I've been out here, I'm a customer. My business depends on skills. The world depends on skills. So this is not the preserve of anybody who was in. I applaud you guys for doing this. Already I need your contact. I make furniture and I need cushions immediately. Okay? So this is not for here, this is for real. And I'm here with another colleague, another wonderful lady from the concerned Dr. Gasheri. She's also with us at the Kenya Association of Manufacturers. She's a dentist who's then gone into making soaps. We all need soaps. Tumeoga leo. Sio ni sabuni. Tukajipaka mafuta, I hope. That's called cosmetics. We all need that. So she's also been part of our team that will be helping in training through all your prisons.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Praise God. My name is Dr. Margaret Mutuma, Director Education and Training Unit, and I'm here to discuss how we are using formal education to rehabilitate, reform, and reintegrate our offenders. Thank you.
Thanks so much to all our panelists and to our audience. Just as I said earlier, our theme today that will be running for this day that we can discuss even in our free time is about youth empowerment through skills acquisition for market competitiveness and crime prevention. One of the key factors that the State Correctional Department has championed or is championing is to ensure that the people who will be in conflict with the law have not only the necessary skills for the job market, but also competitive skills. So we are looking at innovation, we are looking at new thinking, we are looking at new designs. We are coming from a situation where maybe the equipment we have in our prisons, as Shira said, they visited committee, maybe they visited our prisons. Maybe the equipment we have in our prisons right now are outdated, they are consuming too much power, it's not making any business sense. Maybe this is a forum where we can think about how to modernize and bring people on board on how we can modernize our systems within the correctional department, and also make the Macharias and the Okos and my sister be competitive in the job market. We could get the training, but it's not relevant to the job market. So as we go through that, I just want us to look at it holistically, that it's an engaging and continuing conversation. So without much further ado, I'll just start with my brother, James, and I'll ask, since you came home, what do you think was your biggest challenge upon arriving home with the skills you had? You said you had skills already in committee. What was your biggest fear, and what was your biggest challenge upon coming home?
Thank you very much. Okay, my biggest challenge was capital, because one, I've come out of committee after spending 15 years, and now I don't know anyone. Even if my family, dad passed away when I was in prison, and I only have my mom and my siblings. So to start life, it was very hard for me. Because one, even if I go and ask for a job, the people who are there, we are not familiar with them. But I thank God because God always has a plan for each and every one of us. There is a time I was walking, I met a friend of mine whom we are in community maximum prison. And he told me, James, since you learned and acquired skills in community, there are some people here, they are lawyers, and they usually make car seat covers. I think if you go there, they're going to give you a job. So I went there, I talked to those guys, but I thank God, they just accepted me. Because me, I didn't lie. I told them, I am from community maximum prison. I entered into the prison innocently because I was working as a matatu conductor, and one day, I was coming from my place of work and passed where a robbery offense had occurred. I was mistakenly arrested. I was taken to committee. Very young, shallow, and vulnerable. But I thank God because one, He gave me the faith to overcome the hard life of prison. It was not easy as butter and cheese. It was so hard. But we thank God with our brothers, Saki Singu, and others. Mina Zakubuka. We survived. God helped us through. But me, I did this. After finding myself in prison, I said, I still have a life to live after prison. So I decided to take every opportunity possible to learn and acquire. Because in prison, we have formal education, we have the theological courses, that one is it's part of rehabilitation, and we have what we call the life skill courses. So me, I did theology, I did diploma, higher diploma, I did all those until I did certificates. All the certificates I acquired in prison. After going through those, I decided now I have to have a life skill course because I will not just come and tell people I ask for token. Send money, I pray for you. So I thought of myself and I said, let me learn a skill so that if I go out, I am going to do work for myself. So I did mechanic. And mechanic I did for 3 years. I did grade 3, grade 2, and grade 1. After completing, I decided now, what else? I wanted to learn wiring, but I decided now, let me do upholstery, interior. I did it very well. I acquired grade 3 and grade 2. Now I decided now, God take me out of this place, because this one is not the right place for me. I want to go out, help my brothers, my sisters, and my mom. God gave us a way out through petitions. Now we are here. We have skills. The world does not know, it cannot accept us. Because one, we are in the criminal records. Our fingers we are taken. In fact, there's a day somebody told me, I want to give you my bus, you drive for me. So you need to have a good conduct. And I was like, wow, how will I acquire a good conduct? And my record prior, it is said that I was a criminal. So those are some of the challenges that I want us, as we go through this panel, we discuss about them, because I have a lot of friends who are chokoras now. We were with them in community maximum prison, but they were not accepted by their own people. So they are suffering. Some of them are just loitering in the street because they cannot afford for themselves. They cannot buy for themselves, they cannot do anything. So those are some of the challenges, but thank God we are here and we will go far.
Thank you, James. And I'm glad James is just, that's why I gave him an opportunity. He's speaking from the heart. He's speaking of real life challenges that real people are facing in the community upon release. And I know Dr. Mweni will address that in her bit. One of the takeaways that I'm big from James as he's talking about is, are there opportunities within our correctional services? The affirmative answer is yes. As to whether someone takes advantage of them or not, that is for the individual to make that decision. But James has eloquently stated that there are opportunities, and there are opportunities, different opportunities, whether life skills or whatever it is that's happening there, that you can take advantage of and use upon release like he's doing right now. James has also alluded to the issue of stigma and acceptance for people who've been in conflict with the law and who come out. But most importantly, and one thing I'd like us to champion, all of us, even as we live here and in our daily interactions, is the issue of certificate of good conduct. Because many former inmates, former persons who've been in conflict with the law, are not getting jobs despite the skills they have, just because of that one paper. I say paper because in many instances, once you've been in conflict with the law, whether rightfully or wrongfully convicted, you have a record. And we normally assume in many instances that if someone is sick and they've been taken to hospital and they've left hospital, they don't come out with a certificate that showing that they were ex-malaria, ex-TB, ex-whatever disease it was. Once you are healed, you come out of the system and you go on with your life. And I believe the moment the prison service, the correctional service, the probation and aftercare make a decision that this person has served their time, they pay for whatever it was, and they come out, they should be know about everything. You've come out prepared. You are ready product for the world. But what are the challenges that you feel you face and other persons who've been in conflict with the law, and especially women who've been in conflict with the law face?
Thank you. By my own experience, when I came from prison, yes, we come from prison with skills that we have acquired there, but let us say because of capital, most people who come from prison come out with nothing to start, nothing to just continue your life from where you left it. So the problem of capital is a real challenge, because you find out like whatever you left behind, even if you are in employment, you stayed in prison for years, that job has been taken, so you have to find another way to just survive. Me and my masters, I could not get formal employment because getting the certificate of good conduct is really hard, because you have to wait for months. Legally, you're supposed to wait for 6 months, but that's not the case. Sometimes you go there, it's not ready, or when it comes out, it still has that mark of convict, and you still cannot get employment. It's even more challenging because personally, as a single mother, trainings, and they actually gave me my first loan that I used to start my business, Research Economy, which is an import business, and we import households from China.
Let's give Betty an applause. Now, Betty, I'll just for clarification, I had you mention that you have a master's degree.
Yes.
In which particular field?
In marketing.
So Betty, just next to you, she was taking notes as well. And we believe that in this collaborative sector that you're working in today, we'll have takeaways from here that we know there are people who come out of the correctional services, they have the skill set, and let's take leadership in giving them opportunities so that the others can also take cue and assist and support. If we can support our own post this important conference that we are having, it will be very hard for others to accept them or to accept us. I'm a panelist, I'm a moderator, but I'm speaking like us. That's the conflict I say I'm having today. Now, I'll come next to Dr. Winnie. Miss Winnie, yeah, I'll come next to you right now. You heard what my brother James has talked about and what my sister Betty has also talked about, especially on the certificate of good conduct. I'd like to ask you to make a comment on that specifically, even as you come to tell us what exactly the probation and aftercare department does, pre and post release, for those who been in conflict with the law. The issue of certificate of good conduct, where has it, what's the way forward?
So probation and aftercare service is the department that is responsible for the community-based rehabilitation of offenders, both adults and children. And unlike our sisters' prisons, or our big brothers' prisons department, the offenders serve their can be able to be rehabilitated within the community. So for our clients, there are many opportunities within the community. The courses that you are talking about, that you did while in prisons, many of them are in the community. So for us, the issue is and is placed on probation immediately within the community. The first thing is that the probation officer sits with this person, and then they take an assessment of the person's education and skills profile to be able to determine the right match and the right fit within the resources that the person has, the resources that But then we also have probation hostels, which are institutions where some offenders, for one reason or another, cannot be rehabilitated within the community. And so we have 6 institutions, and then we have those probation training and resource centers, 2 of them, where we have also offenders coming to from the community and train. So probation hostels are institutions where we provide temporary accommodation for a period of 1 to 3 years, specifically for young offenders. And when they're in those institutions, when they're in the probation hostels, they can take vocational training courses offered within the hostels or outside, still in the community, and come back in the evening. For some of them who we assess to be persons who are able to do that. So we have a variety of skills that we give, skills course for young offenders. We have tailoring, we have masonry, we have carpentry, we have computer trainings. For the women, we will have beauty, we have hairdressing, dressmaking, those kinds of courses. So by the time that the person is finishing their probation period, as probation officers, of course, because we do connect with the family of this person a lot. At least we have a plan, which we call a reintegration plan, which is able to identify some of the things that this person will be able to do. But then again, we also get ex-long-term prisoners who are released by a board in prison. And before they are even released, the probation officer will have written a report, visited the community and the family of this person, and be able to identify what are their empowerment and skill needs, and if they learn skills while in prison, how can we connect them to the market? That's why I'm so glad that the Kenya Association of Manufacturers is here, because this is an opportunity for us to continue creating that partnership, so that those who are given to us also from prison for reintegration in our aftercare program We are taking a profile of what they have learned, the skills that they have learned, and then talking to potential employers. And of course, one of the blocks, like he has said, to employment is that certificate of good conduct. Now, what we do as probation, because that's a record, and that's within the police, the National Police Service, but a probation officer, if our client is asked for a certificate of good conduct, we will write a letter, to just show that this person was on probation for a certain period, and we supervised this person, and we are satisfied this person is now a law-abiding citizen and can be able to function within an employment setting without offending or relapse or committing another crime within that. And of course, as probation officers, we have all the contacts and of that person. So that is what we do in order to assist the person.
Good conduct, so I'll not go deeper into that. But I'll just come now to Dr. Margaret. What educational programs, if you may share with the audience today, are we running in prisons? Because many times people out here in the community assume that the moment people are in prison, for example, persons in conflict with the law being taken into prison, then it's all gloom and doom. Maybe you could share with the audience and with the entire nation and the entire world, granted that the vision of the correctional services to be a center of excellence around the world, across the world, and people can borrow best practices. So what educational programs?
I must say that in the State Department we have several programs that we use to rehabilitate, reform, and prepare our offenders for integration. But like I said during my introduction, I said that I coordinate formal education and training. That is a unit that coordinates both the Kenya prisons and provisions and aftercare in the implementation of formal education and training. So for today, I'll address the issue of formal education, and my colleague here, Mr. Njoroge, will be addressing all without leaving out anything to ensure that as they get back into the society, they are now ready to continue the normal lives and even to build the nation. So with formal education, I must say that that is a key program that we are implementing now. And before phasing out the 844 system in our primary section, we have been doing it, but as you all know, this year's KCPE exam is the last one, and we are now ushering in competence-based curriculum. And together with the 844 system in the secondary section, we are still implementing those programs. I also need to say that because we know that through education we fight illiteracy and semi-illiteracy and ignorance. We try as much as possible once we receive offenders. The first thing that is done is there is a lot that goes into trying to bring this person to a normal person, because we believe at that time someone may have gone through stress, a lot of it, and therefore may not necessarily enroll immediately for formal education. But again, when we get to that level of enrolling someone to formal education, there is again a lot of sensitization that goes with it concerning the importance of education. Because some of these clients or some of these offenders have education already, and the need probably that there is there is to be assisted to continue to transit from the level they are in to the next level. For example, those who have dropped at primary level, they may need or they will need to be prepared to sit for that exam that would assist or enable them to transit to secondary level. Those that drop at secondary would require also that facilitation to tertiary, TVET, and even to the university. At the moment, we have several of our reformed offenders, or those still under the program of rehabilitation in secondary schools, primary schools, universities, and TVET. Now, coming back to the challenges we face, other than sensitizing them and showing them the importance of taking formal education seriously, we also try to help them go through the system with a bit of with interest, because some of them may not be so much interested to enroll for formal education. And as we go through that preparation, we find that we face several challenges. For example, the infrastructure that we have in some of our institutions, and particularly for the adult and continuing education, we find in maximum, medium, and main, we lack the classrooms, we lack areas that can be used really to provide a friendly environment for formal education program. However, in our both institutions, the juvenile schools, we have a well set up where we have infrastructure, where we have most of the required buildings to facilitate learning. Now, we also have other challenges like inadequate instructional materials. Now, we as the State Department, we have made a lot of effort, and I can actually mention that we have made some strides in trying to provide the required and the very much needed instructional materials in the days we procure from the State Department. We also reach out to our partners to assist us, and they have come in a big way to help us in the provision of the instructional materials. Another challenge we face is we have a challenge with the teachers, but we are also working on it. The other challenge is about the teachers today require retooling. Why retooling? I mentioned that we are actually in now competence-based curriculum. And with that retooling, then our teachers may not adequately handle the issue of competence-based curriculum, which is too practical, and they need to know how to go about it. Now again, on this we have come up with a program whereby we are reaching out again to our partners who support us in training or the training of our teachers on competence-based curriculum. And in fact, it will interest our members more to enroll for formal education to make it more interesting to almost everyone. We have already started a program where we have assessing our institutions, we are registering them, and we are now changing the name of exam centers. Why we are doing that? We want to make that certificate useful. Because I've heard someone, my colleague here, saying that he had a lot of certificates, but I believe you are reading committee maximum. So if they read committee maximum, we all agree that that certificate, for sure, may not be useful to this person. And therefore, what we are now doing is that we are changing the exam centers so that if it is committee, it's now the school, the exam center reads Committee Education Center Primary, Committee Education Center Secondary, meaning that when he goes out with that kind of a certificate, other than the certificate of good conduct, someone can make use of that. Something else we are also doing is that we are trying to help our reformed offenders, especially those who are ready for reintegration. And then we have a plan to provide a startup kit. I think this is already being done by the provisions and aftercare, and we want now to engage in that direction so that whereas someone leaves the state, the correctional facilities, someone has somewhere to start. You have something small, a tool that you can use. If you have done probably upholstery, you may have tools that are related to that career. If you are good at, you are trained at trained on dressmaking and tailoring, again you are provided with that machine so that once you go out there, then you can you can have something to start with without necessarily wasting a lot of time and also panicking. Finally, we are now again introducing information and technology because everyone is going through now the IT. Why are we doing this? We are trying to prepare our reformed offenders for the job market. Once they go out there, they can as well start their own and employ others, or they get employed without a lot of problems because they are adequately prepared. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that, Barry. You so well put up the issue of education and the importance of education, and we can't understate the fact that before the Kenya Prison Service started formally employing teachers into its system, most of them coming in as cadets, the teaching actually was being done by inmates who are not even qualified to teach. And it's been a big strike to see that now the prisons department actually has qualified teachers. It has you leading the process. What I'm picking from what you're saying is that, and what what Madam Weni said as well, is that you're handling a capital-intensive venture, which needs retooling, which needs training, which needs infrastructure and all that. The question would be, do you feel you have adequate resources for that? Or would you want even more resources for the same?
Thank you very much.
I'm talking about budgetary resources.
Yes. At the moment, we do not have adequate, and we are still making requests for more additional resources so that from our state department, we are able to take care of most of these needs, and particularly in the area of formal education and training and per se. Those are the programs that we implement. But we are also reaching out to our partners, and they are coming in to assist us. But for sure, we do not have enough, and we are actually requesting for more resources. Thank you.
Maybe before I come to introduce our panelists who just joined us, Annette, Dr. Weni, I'll also ask the same question for the Probation and Aftercare Department, because you need to go out and meet the former, the returning citizens, as we call them. You need to go out and do the assessments and all that work that you're doing. Do you feel you have adequate financial resources in your department? Or do you feel that's something that should be worked on to increase resources to be able to deliver optimally?
Thank you. Resources can never be enough. I don't think there's any agency that can say we are okay, we have enough resources, because like my colleague has mentioned, there is changing of offender rehabilitation needs. And of course the market that employs our clients also is requiring them to have varied skills. So if it is carpentry, for example, no, if it is tailoring, for example, if we have the old, you know, those old machines that you used to step on and they ride like this, if that's what we are training them on, then they go to the markets for an interview and they're given an electronic sewing machine, then of course the person will not know what to do. So in terms of even putting those, you know, kind of updating our equipment, you know, use of computers and stuff like that is something that also we need. So resources are not enough also at probation and aftercare service. There is need also for stakeholders to join us and be able to supplement what the government has in terms of allocation of resources.
Thanks so much. And just at that point, I'd like to point out that one of the novel initiatives of the State Department of Correctional Services from 2003 has been the open door policy, where partners can come in. You've heard Dr. Mweni and Dr. Margaret talk about partners coming on board. And maybe you are here and wondering, how do you come on board to partner with the Prisons Department? The Prisons Department actually has a department that is charged with building those partnerships and ensuring that they deliver on their mandates. So it's an open door policy which you're running open government, if I may say, through the open door policy, and anyone can come on board and add their expertise. I'll introduce our panelists who just come in. I'll give you an opportunity to introduce yourself. I know you are next, but I'd like you to introduce yourself to the audience.
Hamjambo. I apologize for being late. I was opening the African Security Conference, which is a global conference, and the timing did not work. And I desperately needed to be here today because of the richness of the conversation that we are having. My name is Annette Kimite, and I am the Managing Director of a private security company called Seneca East Africa. And I am also the chairperson of the KEPSA Security Sector Board. So maybe I'll begin with a brief introduction of who KEPSA is. KEPSA is the Kenya Private Sector Alliance. So this is the umbrella body of we call ourselves the voice of private sector, the umbrella body of the private sector in Kenya. We represent over 1 million businesses who are either direct members of KEPSA or members of BMOs, which are business membership organizations, as well as associations. We cut across many sectors of the economy, so we have agriculture, we have education, we have health, we have tourism, and we have security, amongst other 16. And KEPSA has structured itself in such a way that we mirror government ministries. So my sector board works very closely with the Ministry of Interior, and so does all other sector boards. It's a pleasure and it's quite an exciting moment to just learn of what you are doing. And I've been wondering to myself, how do we get private sector full in this room like this? Because once you prepare them, we don't know them. We don't know what you've done. Only a few of us, for example, in the security sector would have an idea. But you need them having jobs, right? We need them having, to be able to create employment opportunities. We know the struggle that we have right now, even with those ones who start businesses, is that 90% of the businesses in Kenya do not see their fifth birthday. I would imagine that it would be even more difficult for our reformed citizens for them to be able to see that fifth birthday. And I think I take this opportunity on behalf of private sector to be able to request, and I'm happy to hear that you have that open door, to be able to have such forums together where, number one, we hear your story. I know we are in business, we like to speak numbers and quotas and KPIs, but we need to hear those stories, and I've just heard of some of them here, and even when we visited you, let's hear those stories. They mean a lot, because I may be a business person, but Annette is a human being. Annette is a mother, and I need to know why this person went to prison, how long they stayed there, what they went through in prison, because prison is another prison in itself. The psychological effect of just knowing that I am in prison, and then thereafter, what have they learned, what skills have they been able to pick, what are their interests. I want to hear the success stories, that I started this business when I left, and this is how far I've gone. I would love to hear from the private sector of the businesses that failed. Because often we want to look at the success stories, and we also forget the non-successful stories. And I think for any one of us here, we can count more failures that we've had that have even gotten us here. And I'm happy to see Shiro here, representing the private sector in her own beautiful way. She does a beautiful job, I must say, with some of her crafts. I'm her customer. But I'm sure behind her are many failures. And we need to hear those failures, because, again, that's how we develop some of the measures. So what are we doing as KEPSA, as the Kenya private sector? Is number one, we know that we have a very big problem with the youth. Some people look at it as a problem, but we want to look at it as an opportunity. To have an 80% youthful population is a huge asset. My background is HR, so I know that our human beings were called human capital. They are assets. And I don't want to look at the problems of the youth as just offenders. But currently, because of the state of joblessness, the state of poverty, sometimes they are pushed to the brink, and that is how they end up in your hands. So how do we look at the youthful population, even those who have reformed, as an asset? And there are quite a number of business opportunities. So for us, we've been able to make sure we diversify not only our membership, but also our sector board. So in my sector board, I have representatives who speak youth. And I know at the beginning of the year, KEPSA was involved even in the police and prisons reforms. I remember we were presenting to the task force, and we are happy that with the progress that is started in terms of looking at how do we improve police and prisons reforms. And I'm happy that part of the submissions were also, how do we look at the inmates? And not just when they are inside, when they get out. So number one is hear their stories, hear your stories. Number two, engage with us. We have many forums. And it's one thing listening to us as the leaders, and it's yet another when we hear from the inmates themselves, right? It really changes the conversation. Number three is we have many youth programs. So we have programs like Ajira, where our goal is to be able to have at least 100,000 people engaged in Kenya but working across the world, because these are digital jobs. They are not opportunities, they are actual jobs where we are able to link our Kenyan citizens with jobs across the world, and most of them pay an average of between 20,000 shillings per month and above. So right from the comfort of your home, you can be able to do very, very many opportunities. So Ajira is one of those opportunities that you can be able to pursue. We also have business incubation programs. And the beauty about the business incubation programs is they are also managed by business people. Sometimes when you're getting into business, it's very hard if you've not done entrepreneurship. But the minute you have somebody who holds your hand and tells you, don't go and sell that thing without a Kanjo license, you'll be arrested. This is where you get the Kanjo license, it costs this much, you renew it after this long. You prevent this person from going back where they come from, right? So we hold businesses, new businesses, we hold their hands because we want to see them reach that 5 years. And then from there, from the incubation programs, we also have SME programs. SME accelerator programs. And in the SME accelerator programs, is you may have had a business where I'm a baker. So now I can be able to bake, but I need new equipment to be able to bake more. Or I need to open another branch. And sometimes we rush into these decisions without having done our math right? And then you burn. And even that first business that you had started that was doing well completely dies down. You had started a salon. So with the accelerator program is to also help these businesses that have now reached somewhere around 3-4 years to be able to catapult and prepare themselves for growth. It is good to know who KRA is, the Kenya Revenue Authority. What are the laws that affect you? What are the statutories that you should be able to pay the minute you are employing 5 people, 10 people, 20 people? You don't want to get yourself in trouble with the taxman because of ignorance. And even when you start expanding from one county to the other, what are the county licenses? What are the business opportunities? And then finally is also the network. You cannot have business or you cannot have employment without having access to the employers, without having access to the market. So again, as private sector, and I'm looking forward and thank you very much for this invitation because it's a call to action for both entities, private sector and government. How do we stick together? Because if you want to speak to us, sit with us in one room and then look at the opportunities again that you can be able to explore. But from there are a lot of networks. If we come and display this, the things that I've seen out there, why would I go out and furnish my buildings or buildings, the hotels that we are having, if I know that I can support local? There is somebody doing incredible furniture. I've seen some of the clothes out there. Why can't I design my security uniforms, knowing that the thousands of security officers I'm employing, hizo nguo zimetoka mahali from a reformed returning citizen. You know, it gives much more pride. But because we don't have that linkage, I think that is what has brought the huge.
Thanks so much, Annette. So well put. I know Shiro was taking notes. I'd just like to let you know that before you came in, Shiro already offered our returning citizens some business, and I hope Seneca will also offer to take about 10 returning citizens into the employment so that we walk the talk as we leave this place, challenging Seneca. But basically not Seneca, but the entire private sector alliance. And that's why we're here. You've raised a couple of issues, and I know we're going to come back to that. And I'd just like to go to Mr. Njoroge, because Dr. Margaret talked about the educational component of how we prepare those who've been in conflict with the law for the job market and the market competitiveness. You've been in the system for more than 30 years. You've seen what we've had. Maybe you could give us a brief, the audience a brief, and the entire world a brief of what happens in the Kenya Prison Service Enterprise Department and how we can buy stuff. And I would like to know, because maybe our marketing skills are not up to, our marketing department is not projecting what they should. So I'll give you an opportunity, Mr. Njoroge, just to bring us up to speed on that.
Thank you, moderator. Thank you, everybody. Once somebody is incarcerated, I would like to take you through what happens, because you realize that once somebody has come into conflict with the law, the system goes very fast, and it is very traumatic for this person. And up to a point whereby, by the time this person is being sentenced, they are hearing the section that is, they have been charged under this section and this section. They are hearing that for the first time, and it is very traumatic. And before they can say they are in prison. So once this person is brought into prison, the first thing or the first person you come into contact with is the admission board. In every prison throughout the country, we have admission boards, which are comprised of various officers. In the various departments, there are documentation officers, there are spiritual counselors, there are also trainers in vocation. And the purpose of the admission board is to look at this person and to prepare him for the journey that he is going to take through. If, for example, you have been sentenced for maybe 3 months, 3 years, 10 years, 20 years, even for life, it's very, very important to prepare this person for that journey, so that this person recovers from the shock, from the initial shock. Then another important thing about this admission board is to look at what may be of interest to this person, so that as you tailor the rehabilitation programs, you elicit the interest of this person. Because again, it will be of no use, for example, if you train me on carpentry, yet in me. So this admission board looks at what may be interesting to this person, so that as you tailor the rehabilitation program, you bring this person to the skill that he is likely to use when he is outside there. Remember, we are not only talking about the skill, we are also talking about sustainability. We would like to give this person a skill that can be used for posterity, because I would hate to spend 1 year, 2 years teaching you something that you know for sure that you will not continue with once you are out there. So our work as a service in vocational training is to give these people the skills, both in male and female prisons. And it's worthy to note that many people are incarcerated in the Aroko prisons, meaning that the skills that we are going to impart to them are the skills that are also in the society. For example, if you look at a place like Omabe, where they do stone carving, or a place like Kitui, for example, where they do wood carving, it will be prudent to give this person a skill that will be easily absorbed in the society. Again, we also impart to them marketing skills, because we have officers who are employed, who already have the skills. Some of them have got marketing skills, others have carpentry skills, tailoring skills, and so on and so forth. Because again, we have talked about the linkages between this person and the market. It's also very important that to know and to bring the public to knowledge that we also have very educated officers who are taking these inmates through the programs. I myself, I have a master's degree in marketing, and I have a first degree in marketing, and my master's is in strategic management. So we are looking at the strategy. We are looking at how can this person link the resources that is available to him to be of strategic use. Because what we want to fight here is recidivism. We are saying you have found yourself here in prison, but we don't want you to find yourself back again in prison. So we would like to meet you like what we are talking about Mr. Ouko here. When we find him doing his work, we are so proud of what we have done, and we can say hakika hatukukamulia chini. Whatever we are doing has been useful, and we are using this for our economic growth. But again, we also need to look at the issue of stigma. Once you mention prison, it does not matter in what capacity that you are coming, in prison. I remember that I was in a certain forum whereby when we were giving the stories about prisons, and we were saying that maybe you people, you should look for an opportunity to come and see what happens in prison. And somebody is saying, wow, what are you talking about? Can I come into prison? Yeah? And the truth of the matter is, prisons and prisoners come from society. And they will not be there for the whole of their lifetime, most of them. They will still come back to society. And the sooner you accept that they are your brothers and sisters, they are your moms, they are your fathers, the better it will be for you. Again, when I come to the marketing of our products, the products that we have, we don't make them as a business. Yeah, these are products from the training, and you realize that we do the marketing that we are able to do, like for example referrals, because we are known. Yeah, we are known for good furniture, we are known for good mentor, we are known for all those things. So most of this we rely on referrals. However, we agree that we need to go a step further and tell the public, look here, after the training, we are able to come up with these products, which we are offering you at at a very reasonable price. You agree with me that prison products are amongst the cheapest in the market, and they are the most durable. So our moderator, I believe that this forum is very, very important to us as government and even for the public, because with the open door policy, we are telling people, please come to our workshops, please come and see. Once you give us these people, what do we do with them? Because if somebody is there for 3 years, 10 years, it will be very bad if this person comes out the way he was. Thank you.
Yes, Madam, and as you added, maybe you also, if you don't mind, I'll just give you that opportunity. I don't know what Mr. Njoroge is saying. Maybe you also explain to us how you're supporting people serving on custodial sentences.
So, as you were speaking, I just remembered, when you're talking about young offenders, we are talking about, including even children, from 12 years, of course, and above, but especially youth. We are seeing a trend in their interests. This change in the interests of what they want to do. And most of them have their own innate interests. Somebody is an artist. They like to do art. Somebody is a musician. So you are talking to them about doing a carpentry course, but they say, this is how I would like to make my money. This is going to be my business. I'm going to be a musician. I will be doing music. So I think for us, like at probation, we also encourage them to be able to enhance their talents and be able to realize that. In some of our probation hostels, actually, we do call in mentors who are musicians themselves or artists themselves, so that they can also help this young person. Because out of that, they also make music, including sport also, those kinds of talents.
Thank you so much for that. And co-curricular activities actually are one key component of the rehabilitation process. Maybe that child didn't mention it, but I'll just add it for her, that within our prisons, we even have a World Cup, whenever there's a World Cup series. There's sports, people have sports, people have acrobatics, people have dance, and there are other partners within the correctional services who help in undertaking that. So I'm just glad that the probation and aftercare department also focuses on the skill sets, the different talents that the young people may have. Just before I have a short music interlude from our wonderful band, I always say that the prison band plays the best rendition of the national anthem and all the anthems. Before we go, just for a short interlude, I know my sister Shiro hasn't spoken. She will just give an introduction, and now I'll let Shiro tell us about the Kenyan Association of Manufacturers. Mr. Njoroge has spoken about the products he's making. He's spoken about the challenges he's having. Maybe the tooling of the industry is not up to date. How do you feel the KM can partner with the Department of State Department of Correctional Services? And just speaking on from what Annette also said, that we are not going up. The prisons department maybe has not been vocally speaking to them or to the KEPSA, and now you're on the same table. How do you intend to take the process forward, the conversation forward, to ensure that the partnership actually yields desired results?
Thank you everybody. First of all, the fact that we're here today is huge. Thank you for hosting the committee last month as well. So we're able to see, not just here. We have amazing furniture outside. It is too out of date. Fact. You have the tools, even if you didn't have extra money today, we need to go back to, is this the design of 2024? Because we're now in 2024. I saw the gentlemen in committee spend so much time making beautiful chairs. They could spend half that time with modern designing. Nobody has talked about design as a big component. Whether it's fashion, whether it's the shoes and the leather, you must teach design. It is not art. It is design. I am an interior architect. I did art. I then did interior architecture as a degree. I then did carpentry because I can design amazing things. But if I don't know how to make them, the market still will not take them. I then went and did business because I can make it. If I can't sell it, the market still will not take it. So we would love to, I don't know, should I become an officer? How does this work? Because we're 2024-25, our education system, and no offense, madam, is still very backdated. The internet even can show us. These sofas are so big and so bulky, maybe because government sells to government. Offices in Cooper. Our houses are small. With that big sofa takes alone, can you meet it? Even that rocking chair, it's nice. Me, I don't know anybody who uses a rocking chair. Put up your hand if you still use rocking chairs. It's our shosho's bukas. The majority of Kenya is young. Why do I need a rocking chair in my house? Right? We need a sofa bed, sleepover, all those things. The same effort that is currently spent by our amazing Kenyans, we're calling them Kenyans, the same effort could make double or triple the work. Our choice of fabric, as well, things like that. I really wish you had a design as the core, even in your metalwork. The chairs you all sat on are made with metal, facts. But they're designed, this is designed differently. Designed really good people. This is Gold Nava, the one I'm wearing, made in Kenya. It's designed. Without design, we won't be naked here. Without design, this bottle will look different from the next. I think it's a big part, and not just the prisons. Our education system as a whole has not focused on the potential of design. I draw, I paint. Yes, I'm an artist. But I'm really a designer, okay? We must not separate the two. A child can be a musician, an artist, and a scientist. It is all possible. So for us as manufacturers to absorb or even support you, if your stuff is not modern, it is not trendy. The tools you have, I saw, are okay. Yes, you need better ones. You need computerized CNCs, yes. But when there is no power, which you know happens at the moment, you will still need the hand tools. Will we stop working because we don't have hand tools? No. What I saw at committee can be upgraded. But if we just change our design, choices of materials, today with what we have, you will generate enough revenue to maybe buy your own machines, okay? I would love to, like Annette has said, a place I can come and find you guys. The returning citizens, government, you have a lot of buildings, a lot of facilities. Let it be like a hub we come. Where do we find them? Databases, have an online thing, rebrand. Maybe the one of Correctional doesn't have to look like the one of now. Returning citizens. We are online, Instagram. We go online and find products, we find people. If there's a way we know, first of all, when I hear a committee or prison furniture, most people say, excellent. It is not a negative. If you changed and told me the certificate came from committee, I don't know what, as opposed to you told me it came from committee maximum, I will take the gap committee maximum. Why? Because historically, the reputation is good. We know they are good for what they make. If you tell me it's committee somewhere, I'll be like, hey, are you sure they can do? So sometimes it's perception. When everybody, I've been talking to recently, says, we used to buy furniture, mats, things. People knew committee for having, for example, I'm just saying the example, very good things. There's no stigma per se. If I'm buying a table and it's good, doesn't matter who made it. In my company, I'm the only one with a degree. It doesn't matter. We barely speak English. It doesn't matter. Meza hajui lugha, meza hajui kabila, meza inajua balance. Can it stand or not? Can I sell it or not? We put too much pressure. Then technology will come. It can translate. It is come back to English for the customer. It can translate for them, okay? We're spending too much time teaching the wrong things. We need to teach things that somebody says, whether they'll be employed or not. Globally, employment is low. right? But if there's a place we go, we know, have career days. Let us come and talk to them and say, by the way, these are the jobs of today and of tomorrow. But if they think it's the jobs they left, or even the system itself, I love what you guys do, but I think you're also trying to do what private sector does. You can never teach design like us. You can never teach marketing like us. Work with us. Do what you do it very well. And then work with us, and you will see the change will be instant. You cannot beat us in design, period. Yet you want us to do what? To give them jobs. I can't. I'll be like, oi, where do we start? He has spent 15 years, 4 years. Let's not do that. This is our country. If we suffer, we're all suffering together. So why do we want to choose that path? We must, this is not optional, we must work together so that it's not a burden on yourselves, it's not a burden on us. You understand? When they come out, you shouldn't worry. Like, I'm sure discussions are good, but are they good enough for a global market that we play in? Probably. If not, can I reskill him? And at whose cost? So instead of trying to reskill, let's get it right. Get it right from the foundation. Our manufacturers need people, yes, but they're at an advanced stage. Fact, okay? So why not have, I don't know, is it Upper Hill that has a beautiful place? Have a center with becoming community. I would love to do community service. Annette and I are Rotarians. We can come. Use us. We love what we do. We love this country. We can have a center. We come, you say, all the returning citizens have a database, Munajijua. Kuteni, we talk to you, you talk to us. Membership, 500 bob for life. You understand? Just to show commitment. But let it be a place we know where to find you. Let it be a place you know where to find us. We can say it's once a month on a Thursday, you come. Guest speakers. Business people are always talked to by business people. Inspiration, motivation. Why don't we have a place where we can inspire you guys? So you don't feel the burden by it. For me, it's not to be a business person, okay? Don't feel the weight yourselves. Let it be a place, a center we come and say, every Thursday, first Thursday of the month, open house. Entrepreneurs, returning citizens, correctional facilities. We don't even have to need all those things that cost money. Because what we want to do is impart skills to share. And then we start developing trust. Because right now I feel we don't know each other enough. And if we don't know each other, we don't trust. Let me just tell you a quick joke. Me as a people I know, your certificate, yeah, I would conduct in Woko. It's true, yet they get jobs, you understand? So the fact that you can't get a job because of your certificate is the same as many other people I know, even some who work for me. Somehow they have it just because you are not an inmate. There's not, all of us here, all are guilty of crime. One way or another. One way or another. Dear church, true or not true? There is nobody here without a crime. So this paper should not be what stops us. Having a degree is never that serious anymore. Around the world, it's about skills, it's about attitudes. Companies are not taking you in because even HR departments are not being retooled. CEOs are not seeing it differently because we're not meeting, right? Please, good people, do what you do. Chezeni kama nini very well. Tushikane relay, give us the baton. We also do what we do very well. The person to finish this line and finish strong is who we call Kenya at the end of the day. Asante.
Well, thanks so much. That's deep. You know, you've offered very deep critique. I normally call it critiques, and I can tell you one thing for free, that I know this department loves critiques because they are always working to improve on the systems that they have. And I also like the fact that you've opened your doors for possible and enhanced partnership on how some of the challenges that we face, or the department says they are facing, can actually be addressed. Mr. Jerome was talking about community and the prisons department being a brand. You've affirmed to it. Many of us will affirm to the fact that even as we were growing up, we only knew that the best furniture was done by the prisons department. And as she was rightfully challenged, it could be the best, but is it market friendly? Is it the trend? And I know Annette talked here about 80% of Kenya being young people. So our market dynamic should be focused more towards the 80%, where we can actually make the best sales. So thanks so much, Shiro, and thanks so much all the panelists. Before we come to the second bit of it, which will be very brief, I'd just like to give our man a chance for an interlude of music. And maybe as they have the interlude of music, we're just having a 5-minute interlude in case you want to use the bathroom breaks. You can do that, and then we come back for the second session of it. Thank you.
to have our correctional service week. I'm inviting the public to come and see what we are offering. We are intending to showcase what we do as a state department for correctional services.
Voice over. I believe that should be mentioned for later. Thank you so much, the Prison Square. We are still at the Correctional Service Week Conference, celebrating. As we continue waiting for the panelists to come back, we will have a number. And just before we leave for lunch, we will give the right direction to the venue where we are going to have our lunch, which is the Teaching Restaurant, but we need to have the specifics, which will be given in a short while. We are on the right track, and we are engaging, as we had promised before. From the feedback we are getting is that the stories will advise on who comes to support. So as we continue waiting for the panelists, we will still invite the choir to give us another number. Very brief as we wait for the panelists.
Basi tunaomba watu warudi wachukue viti vyao, sababu tunataka kuendelea na awamu ya pili ya sehemu ya majadiliano. Tunaomba wale ambao wako kwenye exhibitions tafadhali kurudi kwenye ukumbi ili tuweze kumaliza. Tunawasihi wale ambao wako kwa exhibition, kama mnanisikia tafadhali tupate kuingia ili tu kwaya atakapotamatisha huo wimbo wote tuwe tayari kuendelea. Basi kwaya, tafadhali tumalizie.
Thank you.
Ingine na wale wanabaki kwa exhibition tafadhali kuwe na utulivu. Kuwe na utulivu. Naomba wale wako pale nje msaidie kuelezea wale wako hapo kwa exhibition kwamba tunaomba utulivu. Na panelists wanapoingia jamani, nyinyi watu mnaona vile session kwanza imeenda, the content was too calm and the communication was quite eloquent. Sijua ama situafikia makofi jamani. Yes. So kindly get seated. As I get back to kuna announcement tafadhali tusile.
Nitaomba to make an announcement. Those of us who are outside kindly, wale tuko nje kwa exhibition. This afternoon we are having the opening ceremony. We expect the chief guest, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, to join us at this very in the afternoon, immediately after lunch. So, nina maombi mawili matatu. Ombi la kwanza ni tukishapata lunch, we ensure we come back and get settled at 2 sharp. We will have a plenary session where we can ask the questions about the section that we have, and I'm requesting that we feel free at that time to ask questions, and our panelists and others will be able to answer. That secondly, it is only today that we have 2 sessions, morning and afternoon, because we have to deal with the dynamics of the programs for the day within the nation. From tomorrow, when we start at 8 and we break for lunch, that is from tomorrow. Once we break for lunch, we will not come back, so that we are able to go back to our places in good time. For today, we are pleading with everybody that after lunch, we come back and settle down for the plenary sessions and the official opening. 3, niombi la kusamehewa. Niombe nisamehewe kabla niseme hili. That today we might have just a bit of inconvenience in taking lunch, because KICC, every single space has been taken and they could not get space to accommodate all of us at one place and at once. So naomba tusamehewe if there is just a bit of inconvenience, but we have lunch for every other person. Na la mwisho, data protection and justice, utanisamehe, I may get it wrong. The Data Protection Law 2019 has certain provisions. You realize we are here and we are taking images. I have the nice communication lady Pili at the back, and we are also taking other images which as correctional service tutaweza kutumia as we edit these programs. Now Bilangu, on behalf of the State Department, may tukubalie to use those images for educational and national purposes, not for anything private, because data protection law requires us kuomba ruhusa, na kwa hivyo nimekuja kuomba ruhusa that whatever we record, if you see it on TV, tuliomba ruhusa ya kuweka hapo kwa TV. Kama kuna publication report utaandika, tuombe ruhusa ya kutumia the images we've taken. And so I needed to mention those 3 things. Na niombe, at one when we break for lunch, we may do 2 shifts. We might be required to do 2 shifts.
we have enough food for everybody, and after that, we do it quickly so that at 2 we are settled back in the hall. Thank you. And Master of Ceremony, we can continue with the session. Niombe ruhusa nipewe moderators. Nimeomba my Master of Ceremony's permission. Thank you. Asante.
Thank you so much, Mr. Andre, the Administrative Secretary at the State Department of Correctional Services. And for those who might have come in as after we had started, we are having a very vibrant panel here today to discuss issues on youth empowerment through skills acquisition, for market competitiveness and crime prevention. And we have an elaborate panel here that draws from all sectors. We have the Kenya Private Sector Alliance, and it is here. We have Dr. Margaret from the Education Department. We have my sister, Betty, who's a former incarcerated woman, and now doing her own business. We have Mr. Joroge from the Prisons Director of Prisons Enterprises. We also have Dr. Mweni from the Probation and Aftercare Department, and we have James Masharia, who's also a formerly incarcerated person. My name is Peter Oko, for those who came in after we had started. So we are just going to pick it from where we were at. We are going to do a 30-minute session, which will be very brief, granted that we need enough time to have lunch. And also encourage all of us who are here today to use the opportunity for networking. Let's get to know each other, let's get to know what we are doing. Feel free. Hata wale wamevaa raia tafadhali, ukiona wale wamevaa uniform usiwaogope. Mimi nilikaa nao miaka 18 na bado tunafanya pamoja. So just get easy. They'll share with you some of one of the key things I've learned is that we don't know much about the prisons department. And I think this is an opportunity for us from the other side of the spectrum to get to interact with our brothers and sisters in uniform. Zaidi wanakuambia jela, kujua wengine iko karibu na kweli inasotika ama ile ndio matate. Basically, every county in this country has a prison somewhere within it, and we can impact lives there in different ways. We've been challenged here by our sister who's just left Shiro. She had to attend to other matters out of Nairobi, so she's excused herself. But she said that we need to reach out to them as well. We need to reach out to the private sector. We need to share our stories. So we know we have a communications department at the prisons department, a probation, state department, but as an individual, what are you doing to share the story? What are you doing as an individual to share the story of what you are living in the space? So back to our panelists. We are taking the conversation from where we left it, and we're just going to be very interactive amongst ourselves. We need the introductions. I have on my left here James, who has shared with us what he does, the skills that he got while in prison, and how he's deploying them. One of the things maybe he did not tell you, and maybe he will discreet at some point, was that despite having been in committee, he actually designed one of the interiors of the campaign tracks for the current president, and he actually worked on it. So having been in committee has not been a hindrance for him. He actually focuses on the skills that he learned from committee and the prisons department to further his career and to grow his space. James, if I may ask you, you talked about the challenges of certificate of good conduct. You talked about the challenge of capital. If you are to be asked today, what kind of capital, and I'll ask Betty also to share with us the same. When we find the issue, the biggest challenge of capital, is it accessing credit from the banks, or is it because one issue that was addressed here was, Madam addressed that there's a kitty that's being planned? Is it because, is there an earning scheme that where you can earn from? Are you paid when you're working in prison so that you can save, and when you come out, you can start? And in the event it's not there, we know you need to access resources out here. Have you gone to a bank maybe? Have you gone to a credit facility and said, this is what I need, and I've had a challenge? I'll just give you 30 seconds to answer that.
Okay, thank you very much, moderator. Actually, I'm never going to any bank for the same, but I mean, I don't have that kind of financial knowledge to the same. So just like to tell you is that the one who is in the projector, you just project what I've done. Because I remember one day when in prison, Sir Henry single vehicle had an accident. It was brought there and we did it by our hands. You can attest to that. That one was a practical part of it. After coming out, we have Father Kemani. He called me another time after finding my number and actually he sent me a customer. I did a Mercedes Benz. So that one is the support that we did. If I can remember very well, there is a time even the prison department, they sent me their truck, which was in the industry section. And I did the interior, I did the chairs, and I thank God for that. So what I would like to tell you is that the financial support that I may need, maybe is I need even the tools, the equipments to do my job. If I'm going to be given all those equipment, even as I've had my sister say here about modern whatever, I came out and I managed to cope with what is done outside here. If you can see the picture, as I'm telling the projector to show, you're going to find that actually what I've done is just modern. I've done what is accepted, and that's why maybe I may need to be given all the tools, equipment to do my job. So I was thinking, even if the prison department, when somebody is coming out, because we don't have any amnesty, the government itself should look for actually do something about that. Because if you come out without anything, maybe you have the skills, but you're not going to be able to cope. Some of us will fought just because of the grace of God. Thank you very much.
Thank you, James. And just like you shared, James is talking about adaptability. Shiro left before she could hear that the skills that are being impacted in people's lives behind bars, it just needs a bit of tweaking and you can be adaptable to the job market. Basically, you have the hardware and just the software that comes with it, so you can be able to adapt. I can attest to that, what James is saying, because many, I know a couple, some might be here, some might not be here, or people come from prison and they've been taken in these modern spaces, and they're actually doing that. So we'll still go back to what James is raising about opportunity. And that takes me back to Madam Daktari. Daktari, there is an issue that James has raised about financial literacy. Is financial literacy one of the key things that you are undertaking in your educational programs, or would you consider adding, now that you've noticed that it's a gap that you're having? Is it already being given, or is it something that you think of including in your curriculum?
Thank you very much, Moderator. Like I said earlier, formal education has got a very and program, but we are also trying to come up with a curriculum that is tailored to the incarcerated persons, so that we include such programs that are not just financial management, but that has to do with deterring the OBB criminals who would receive to criminal behavior. So we are again in the process of coming up with a new curriculum that is specifically for our offenders. However, I must also say that that is not to say that the new curriculum will replace the current one that our young offenders are going through now from Kenya National Examination Council, because we need to implement the two. But that is in the pipeline, and we are about to start. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'll just come to Betty. Betty, just a brief. When we're talking about financial challenges, we're talking about accessing credit for persons who've been in conflict with the law. I know we are using different terms here. I'm hearing reformed offenders, I'm hearing clients, I'm hearing ex-inmates, I'm hearing returning citizens. So we have different terminologies. For us in the civil society space, we we talk about returning citizens. We talk about persons in conflict with the law. And I know from the provisional aftercare and even from the prison, the department, many times when you go to prison, we hear about crimes. So it's humanizing the face of the department or the people who are being taken through this process. When you came out, and speaking also for the others who come out, what do you think is the biggest hindrance to access to credit?
Coming out from prison, post-imprisonment, you're coming back, approaching those financial institutions, you have nothing to give as security. No one can give you a loan in a bank with security. So maybe they need to come up with programs. These are formerly imprisoned people. They are persons, they don't have anything to give as a security for a loan, maybe a secured loan. And as we talk of skills, when still in prison, what are the skills that the prison people are being taught so that they can be able to access those loans or financial help when they come out? Because I had to go through entrepreneurship so that I could be able to just operate in the market when I came out. So skills are very, very important to be given to people in prison, those who are about to come out, so that they can know how to access and how to live outside. Personally, I got a loan through MBK, but it was through a program, it was helping women. So if you could have more of those programs that say, we have women here, and we are approaching you, we are approaching you as a, it was called You've Got Business, so it's well known. So they went to MBK and they spoke on our behalf. So if you could have more of those programs, because they act as our security to get loans and financial help.
I mean, thank you so much for bringing that, because personally I didn't know about that facility. And I'll just ask you a question, just on the same. Granted that you work with Cleanstat, you come from Cleanstat. Could you tell us something about what you do with formerly incarcerated women, or the challenges formerly incarcerated women face from your experience?
Cleanstat, first of all, they really help in, teaching you to accept yourself. There's a whole program called the Follow program where they teach you who you are. The first thing you do when you come from prison, they pick you from the gate and they give you a circle where it's called a circle of healing. And that's the first program you go through. You're able to meet with other sisters like you who have gone through the prison system and they're now out. Because, as I said about the stigma, you will find yourselves very lonely when you don't have a place to go. So for me, Cleanstat was a safe haven because you get you're in a space where you're fitting, you find your people there. So having Cleanstat really helps in acceptance and just knowing who you are. And like I said, they gave me my first loan that really helped me to kick off my business. So such spaces are quite helpful, especially for women coming out of prison, because you need that sisterhood, you need someone to hold your hand. Otherwise you'll be so lost, you'll come from prison and you'll be so lost. You'll just end up going back there because you have zero support. Most women have zero support. In the society there are crimes that are regarded as, even if you come out of you and serve your time, they still don't want to be associated with you. But in Cleanstat, everyone is accepted and everyone feels at home.
Thank you, Betty. And I raise that because one of the issues that has been passed on to me is the challenge, especially in ladies face once they come out of the Correctional Services Department. I know you mentioned NBK, that product they have. I can see the ABSA logo here. I hope ABSA will also be able to share with us what they want to bring on board to the department now that we are opening up the space for every partner who wants to plug into what the skills empowerment we're talking about here is all about. I want to recognize also, I know they have their time, but I'd just like to recognize that there are so many partners who've been working in the space of education, skills empowerment, access to education. I know there's Justice Defenders here, I know there's Ronnie Kenya, there's Faraja Foundation, there's Royal World Bank. Any partner, I know you have your chance, but I just wanted to appreciate the role that you play in the topic that we are discussing today. So feel part and parcel of this in one way or another. Now I'll come to Mr. Njoroge. We've been challenged, you've been challenged. And I know you took the challenge very positively. But we are told that some of our most young people we are targeting today actually live in single room houses. And maybe the sofa set that you met there cannot fit into that space. Yet you want to sell to this person. We're talking about modernization of tools, we're talking about design. And we like the challenge that has been given that we should have that space. Would you be willing, as a department, to partner with people who want to come and modernize, to bring new design thinking, as they say, that are market responsive?
Thank you. The answer is a straight yes, because this is a collective responsibility. As I said, prisoners are from the society and they will go back to the society. So anything that can add value to the reintegration of this image is always welcome. However, you realize that even as we are talking about the products being bulky, the products being this and that, they are still selling, meaning that even if we are going to do away with them, in marketing there are some things that we call in the BCG matrix. We talk about the stars, we talk about the dogs, we talk about the cash cows. And all these are products that are supposed to be in an organization. That product may look like it is old. However, it is the antiques that give you, the best prices. Like, for example, look at the doors that we buy from Malindi, for example. Where they have sculpted, good images, good things. So, as much as we also have the big population being young people, again, these young people also, how much are they buying? Yeah, the spending power, you look at that, some of them, they don't even want to buy, they just want to come with their bag and come into a furnished house, and then that's it. Yeah, so we are also doing the market survey, and we are looking at what is it that the market requires. But of course, as you have said, we are ready to partner with anybody who can add value to what we are doing.
Thank you so much. Thanks for the clarification, and thanks also for the fact that you are not only talking about strategic intervention, you're talking about adaptability and also being in sync with what's happening. We are looking at the market from a broader perspective. Madam Wendy, I'll just bring this to you in 1 minute. If you're given 1 minute and you just met someone who's come out of prison, they didn't have anywhere to go. This is an adult who's come out of prison, they don't have anywhere to go. What do you tell the public to advise them? Because many members of the public are meeting people who come out of prison, they don't have anywhere to go. Maybe they fear going back because of stigma, maybe you are ostracized, as my sister Betty has already said. So what are the spaces? Do the public know where these hostels are, or where these spaces are where they can go?
So at Probation, we do believe, and our motto is that offenders can change. And so we do believe that because it is our responsibility to ensure that we rehabilitate them enough for them to change. So as they come back to the community, my appeal to the members of the public is that let us accept these people because they have changed. And they have so much to offer in terms of their economic input. They have very good skills. And when we include them in the market, when we accept them, we are contributing to public safety also, and also helping them to sustain the change and the values that they have gained. So offenders can change, and they can change.
Thank you, because if they don't change, then the prisons department will not say that we will work. So thanks so much for that coordination that you are bringing out so clearly. I'll come to Madam Annette. You gave us an introduction about KEPSA, the different departments of KEPSA, the collaborative angle that you can undertake, or that you feel that should be championed, and many feel they really get you. But in many instances, we are talking about inmates. I've noticed that here, many times we're talking about persons in conflict with the law. We're not talking about the staff. What programs do you think, or do you feel? Because the persons like James, like I, whoever, we are trained by officers. And what do you think, what's your feeling about, or what is your thoughts about a program also tailored for the officers who are actually training or taking care of the other side of the other persons?
Great question. And for sure, let me first start with, before we even get to that point, which is allow me to call them trainers or instructors, need to also have skills that are relevant to the market right now. And I know we have a big problem with the education sector and what is brought out. We also have a very big problem right now with our youth and employing them. I know even parenting them requires new skills. So now you can imagine, you are speaking of youth who's a former inmate and all that. So, and in addition to that, we really have, I think the morals within the country have also really fallen down. Please understand us from the private sector. And I'm sure you have been in private sector. Hakuna mtu hananga side hustles. Wanakashamba huko nyumbani, you're planting, you have hired maybe your relative as a caretaker, you have a salon, you have a matatu. And we really suffer as business people from the people we trust our businesses with. Even your own relative, even if you opened a small salon, even if you have an M-Pesa shop. So already, we enter business with that fear of trust of employees and business partners. And it's not something we can run away from. And then now, in our case, we speak of the reformed citizens. And you can imagine, Sasa Annette, I am the managing director of a security company. And where I'm supposed to offer security, right? And you tell me this is a reformed ex-Al-Shabaab, It is very difficult for me to swallow that potato, And not only swallow it, to recruit this person, to also be able to place them in a church, in a mall, in a bank. So I think the first challenge we have, both the trainers, is to be able to address this disconnect. And to start step by step. I might not be able to hire some of the hardest criminals you had today. But what can I start today with? Can we start with the petty crime offenders? Because private sector has to build trust. Trust is not just tumekutana leo, tumesema tutafanya kazi pamoja, and we are in marriage. You normally start even in a dating scene. You start eyeing someone. Naona huyu anakaa vizuri. Then you start dating. You start getting to know one another. And I think by dating, I mean that the trainers need to also sit with the private sector to understand what are our needs. I would want, she mentioned, James mentioned about financial literacy, which is a need that if I'm ever to apply for a loan, I should even start having a M-Pesa account where money comes in, money goes out. I can print a statement and use that as collateral to prove that I'm honorable in paying. But now if you have 10 mutualities, mukopa, muwot everywhere that have not been met, please understand that the banks will be afraid. So basic financial literacy. As I even mentioned earlier, is compliance. Compliance is a big problem because most people are passionate. So I'm a passionate designer or mesa, but I don't know the laws, I don't know the licenses and permits. And just before I can get my head up and say I have a business, nimeshakamatwa, tena nimerudishwa kule. So again, compliance, which is not just an issue our reform inmates will face, it is a problem with most entrepreneurs. So we need our trainers to understand that. Digital skills. So you can't even fight for KRA if you don't have basic literacy skills. Even for us as employees, every year we must file our personal returns. And you can imagine you reach a point where you've not filed your returns for 10 years, the penalty is insane. So you decide that hii maneno ya KRS that, unajua siku moja tu utakupata. So again, laws and compliance, and even some of them could be very small. For example, the Employment Act and their basics on employment. That somebody, you wake up and you say, huyu mtu ameiba, toka na uende kabisa. We used to have that problem with security where somebody has misbehaved, na mwambia, toa uniform na uende kabisa. Then we want to assess their requirements. How do we serve that marketing Runda? How do we serve the marketing Ikomba? How do we serve the marketing in Mama Mboga market? How do we serve? So you cannot have one solution fits all. And just to bring back my earlier point of trust, I feel that this is a challenge for us as private sector and for you as the State Department for Correctional Services to really consider a true partnership. Tumekuwa tukiangaliana kwa macho. We've been eyeing each other from a distance. And I know now we are making deliberate measures. We did, of course, the police and prisons reforms. You've called us here today. But have we sat down and asked ourselves what we want out of this relationship with private sector? We are assuming what you want. Maybe you are assuming what we offer. But have we really sat down and structured it? Because that's how KEPSA operates. We normally have the meetings either with the respective ministries, departments, and agencies. And allow me to just give you a small example of something that has worked to the benefit of this country that the State Department can consider. So we've had a real problem with terrorism in this country, haven't we? And it was a real nightmare because private sector has suffered. Businesses, the hotels and all that. And our name out there has been tarnished. There's even a time when Obama wanted to come here. And you remember they accused him of coming to a country which is the hotbed of terror. And that affects our investor reputation for investors. So what did we do? Is we reached out to the National Counterterrorism Center, and they also reached out to us. We sat down in a meeting and said, we have this problem, it's affecting me, it is affecting me. I am afraid of you, because anytime I come and bring maybe a reported case, police sasa watanigree for 2 years. I will have to write statements the whole period. So how do we build this trust? So we started very simply with quarterly meetings. We started with monthly meetings where we say, let's meet this month, that next month, and the third month. What do we want to achieve? And we said, number one, we need capacity building. We need private sector training. Number two, we want regular meetings to be able to share this intelligence. You have your information, we have our information. That information, if it remains with us, is society. So number two is intelligence gathering. Or other information sharing. Then the third thing is, we say, let us work together. So when they have conferences, NCTC for example, they call us. And I'll tell you that after 3 years, there are real results. Out of that, we've been able to train 14,500 private sector members on counter-terrorism. And we must appreciate that nowadays, we are not saying it's impossible. But you've seen the way we handled our premises in your private sector. Whether you come to the hotels, the banks, the what, we keep handling the measures. But it took us to have that conversation. Even with CEOs who did not want to invest in the equipment that was very expensive to be able to search people. So I wanted to use that analogy of from private sector and correctional facilities. We start getting into a dating scenario where we sit, we agree, I like you, you like me. Can we now, do you see this working out into maybe a future marriage? And then in this marriage, what would we want to see? We'd like to see 1, 2, 3. And I want to tell you that with NCTC, we are now on our second MOU. And the first MOU was 90% successful. So private sector has always feared government, and if we could do it, in a very difficult conversation of terrorism. I think correction services is not that difficult.
Thank you so much, my friend. And I just like the passion you bring on the table. I'd just like to let you share with everyone that the entire prisons department is represented here today, led by the Commissioner General and all the directors. And I can see them taking notes, and I'm sure they'll get in touch with you on the next steps on that collaboration. Daktari at the far end, Mwalimu, as you look at the new frontier, we now have the CDC, and the narrative that has been given about CDC out here is about young people. You know, the memes that are done on social media about CDCs. How is it going to resonate with the people being incarcerated when you're going to give this new product? Because we know that in prison, even though it's adult education, I know people who started class 1 in prison and completed a little bit university in prison. So the CDC curriculum, how well are you ready? And the new curriculum of junior secondary and all that, apart from the tertiary, how ready is the prisons department to implement it come January?
Thank you very much. I must emphasize that we are very ready to usher in the implementation of the curriculum, competence-based curriculum. The reason why I'm saying this with a lot of confidence is that for the last 7 years, this curriculum has been implemented by the Ministry of Education, and in our correctional institutions, we have also been preparing, and one of the preparations we have already undertaken is that we have already recruited around about 57 teachers, that is in the last financial year, and in this particular financial year, we are preparing to recruit 70 more. Now, the ones we have already recruited, they are TOTs, that is trainer of trainers, so that whatever skills they get and the knowledge they get, they go back and cascade it to those other teachers in the institutions. In addition, we are also procuring books that are tailored to competence-based curriculum. We are actually well prepared to actually that, and we are happy that should we receive any of our clients that may be that category of grade 6 now, grade 7, going forward, we are prepared for them. But remember, I started my remarks on formal education. I did mention that we have 2 categories of learners here. We have those who are completely illiterate or semi-literate, and therefore we need now to help them learn the skill of writing and reading, so that as they exit people who can read and write, and that will be fighting against illiteracy and ignorance in a big way. The other category is those who dropped out at some point and we wish to help them transit on to the highest level, right from secondary to tertiary, even to the university. And something I need to mention here is that we really want to prepare them holistically, in the sense that even the incarcerated learners, you want to give them an opportunity to continue with their formal education while in incarceration, simply because with the introduction of IT, they are able to continue with online modules, particularly those that are taking degree courses. And for the young learners, we are also taking note that it is 100% transition according to the Education Act, and particularly the fact that these young offenders who fall under the age of 15 to 18 years, to them, education is free and compulsory. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. And I just like the fact that you're bringing out the adaptability of the education department for persons in conflict with the law, persons incarcerated. Granted that we already have 132 prisons. We have 135. I know there are 3 hostels and there's 1 youth correctional training center. majority of the people in our prisons today are actually in remand. And some might have left school and they're in remand. My question then would be, or the concern we have here is, the ones who come and they're in remand, and that would also take it back to Madam when he wants to finish. The people in remand, are they able to access education? And in the event they come out of remand, Madam Wendy, how do you help them go back to school? Or do they find challenges going back to school by the dint of the fact that they've been incarcerated? So I'll start with Dr.
Thank you very much. It's true that we have those who have already been convicted and they are incarcerated, and we have the remandees in remand. To us, all of them are supposed to have an opportunity to receive formal education, so that if you are to visit it today, the remand, all the remands in very perfect, you'll find they have already been enrolled for formal education. So it does not matter whether one is in remand or whether another one has been convicted and is something like 3 months. To us, 1 month is a lot to make someone to know how to read and write.
So for us, as I mentioned earlier, in probation, our institutions are called probation hostels. We have 6 probation hostels in the country, and then we have what we call probation community resource centers. Now, probation hostels are places where children and young people come to reside, so that we can be able to provide a safe place for them, and also give them those vocational trainings. We have about 3 probation hostels, 3 to 4 probation hostels, where the children and the young people access the formal education. Because ours are community institutions, the children and the young people there will go to the neighboring primary school or secondary school until they are able to access that education. And like I said, those young people who can access a mechanical course out there, because we don't have a mechanical course within the institution, they can still go and come back. In the community resource centers, those are actually more like crime prevention centers, and also for some youth who are on probation, who still need skills. We have 2 of them in the country. One is in Mombasa, and the other one is in Western Kenya. So the youth can come in there and learn skills and live within the community. Once a probationer leaves a probation hostel and they were continuing with the school they hadn't finished, we have the kit that helps to provide school fees. They also get those tools if they were learning a skill and they need a tool to be able to set up something for themselves, like a tailoring kit, a carpentry kit, and all that, a saloon kit. We will provide that. For the long-term prisoners who probably they are really in need and nowhere to go, we do assist in putting up a house if the relatives afford a piece of land, or they can give him a space so that they can be able to reorganize themselves and start life under the supervision and the guidance of a probation officer, to be able to at least have that base from where they can be able to set up something. So that's all.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. And I think not many people know about probation hostels and the probation community resource centers for prevention. I really appreciate the fact that you are bringing it out, and I hope that we can spread the message so that the community knows that crime prevention too. Granted, as one of the panelists shared earlier, the youth have different mindsets now. Some don't want to go to formal education, they want to learn skill sets, and that will be an opening for them as well. I'll come to Mr. Deroge because I'm winding down now, and given an undertaking that will be done by 1:45, and I'm 6 minutes late. I'll just ask you just to share in a brief, very brief manner. James has already talked about the finance, access to finance. You've shared about the training that is offered, and Dr. has also shared. I'd like you to share with us if that training is certified, such that I can use it anywhere. If I have, he's talking about a grade 1, people don't know what grade 1 is. Who offers that? And is it the same certification that is done outside, that is also that you take your class through.
Thank you. It's good to state that the curriculum that we use to train our clients is the same curriculum that is used anywhere else. For example, in the polytechnics and in the technical schools. At once, we feel that somebody has a high possibility of succeeding in an exam. We book them for trade testing with the National Industrial Training Authority. And once they have been tested and they qualify, they are issued with certificates which they can use to secure employment outside there. However, as Dr. was saying, there has been this stigmatization of offering a certificate that is written, tested at community prison or even community maximum prison. And we are working towards that so that it can maybe, like in the courts, the magistrate, the judge would like to know what have you been doing when you were in prison, and to show that you have been rehabilitated. And most of them have used such certification and other certificates from other institutions, to argue their case, and many of them have gained the freedom out of that. Finally, I would also like to say that inmates or prisoners are in prison as punishment and not for punishment. What it means is that just the lack of freedom is enough punishment for them. Therefore, when the public hears that an inmate is like doing modeling there, you feel that that person has still been punished, or that person has still served his term, or maybe you find that this person has been singing in prison, and somebody would say that we knew that this person was sent there for hard labor, and we thank God that Kiboko is Yodolewa. But before, we used to hear.
I'd just like us to remember that our theme running through the 3 days is about promoting holistic rehabilitation and reintegration approaches for sustainability and economic growth. So all the sub-themes that we are having falls under sustainability, economic growth, and holistic rehabilitation. As we are talking about that, about what happens that we are training using national standards, so to speak, and the testing is done by the national quality, body that's managing to do that. It just simply means that anybody coming from prisons in grade 1, for example, who might be more qualified than a lecturer in a TVET, could possibly also be given an opportunity by other sectors of government to train in the TVETs, not just looking at the private sector side, but it also opens other intergovernment agencies' eyes into recruiting this skill set that can, that can add value to the community. James, I'm just going to give everyone 30 seconds for your final comments. Your final comments about what we're talking about, or the message. You're talking to the youth today. And I know you talk to the youth a lot. I know you met the youth. And even the other returning citizens who are here today, I know they're doing a good job mentoring the youth about crime prevention. What would you like to tell the youth? We're seeing an upsurge in certain crimes, like sexual offenses, like petty crimes. What would you like to tell them? Because I'm going to raise that also with the justice in one of the questions that I'm going to ask later. I mean, to raise it up, not as a question, but as a comment. What advice would you like to give the youth today? Having gone through that system, now we are here doing your own thing. What would you like to tell the youth today in Kenya? If you look at that camera and talk to the youth, 30 seconds.
Thank you very much. What I'm going to tell the youth today is that crime is poor. And since prison will remain to be there, sometimes in life you may find yourself in prison. Just embrace the positive things that are done in prison in regard to rehabilitation. And after you acquire those skills, come out, use them, so that actually you may even give the prison a chance to rejoice of what they have done upon your life. Thank you very much.
Thank you, James. Thank you. Let's give James an applause. Thank you. As you talk to the country now on that camera, what would you like to tell? What would you like to tell them?
What is right, follow all the legal channels. Also, I'd like to say there's a formerly imprisoned woman out there who feels alone. Reach out to Please South Africa and let us hold your hand. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll come to Dr. Mwini. Your final comments. You want to tell us, you've shared with us so much about what the probation and aftercare does. I can personally attest to that because I've not only benefited from that department, but I'm also working in that department. And I know some of the people you've supported, some of the officers actually, strangely enough, we've worked with them for 5 years and I've met them for the first time today. But it has been sustainable. And we see one of your colleagues that I'd like to share here, one of your beneficiaries, who left the Plenary prison. He's very sharp in IT. And we gave him an opportunity, he's in Chamberlain Technical in Kakamega. And during his during his holidays, he actually trains young people in Rongai as a crime prevention tool. And the officers actually visited that place. What would you like to share with the public about the probation and aftercare department that they don't know about, that we'd like them to know about in 30 seconds? That camera there.
Yeah. So probation officers and probation and aftercare departments, we are the ones that resettle these people back into the community. We need to work with community members at family, at church level, at CBO level, at every level. Because these people are Kenyans, like we have had, and we need to all act and to be able to rehabilitate them and to accept them as they are. For the youth, I have something to say also. You don't have to wait until you get into the justice system for you to meet a probation officer. We have offices in very many parts of the country, actually everywhere where there is a court nearby, there is a probation officer. Probation officers are people who talk to young people. If one is finding themselves getting into the area of crime, hanging out with the wrong friends, or using drugs, or you have these thoughts of doing something that you know is not good, you can go to a probation officer and ask the probation officer to give you some advice. Youth are in schools and they're in colleges. We also want to work with the Ministry of Education. Sometimes young people are suspended from school for 3 weeks to stay at home, watching television and being on their phone. We can be able to help those young people who are on the onset of delinquent behavior to be able to relook at their life. So we talk to them, we provide counseling services also. So we are there to advise and befriend and be able to guide these young people so that we do not have them get into the justice system in the first place.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's give an applause. I'll go to Mr. Njoroge. Mr. Njoroge, you wear many hats. You're a mentor, you're a teacher, you're a trainer, you're a marketer. But today, I want you to talk to parents. Some of the issues we're talking about youth could actually be attributed to parents. So as a parent, what would you like to see parents in Kenya do? Madam, when you could have touched on it a bit. But you see that an increasing number of people in prison are actually young people. What would you like to share with parents in this country, based on your experiences as a prison officer and in the other spaces you're in?
Thank you. What I would like to ask parents is to be interested in what their children are doing on a daily basis, on a
programs that KEPSA has for them. The youth might know about KEPSA, and they know about KEPSA from the industrialists, but the big hitters. they might feel that KEPSA is inaccessible. The prison officers were here. What deliberate steps would you be taking to KEPSA from this meeting on how to engage going forward?
Thank you.
Closing remarks.
So the deliberate steps is for us to be able to open our doors. I think it's important for you to help us open our eyes. And our eyes are closed as private sector because we do not understand the situation of having been a reformed prisoner. We do not understand all the measures that government has invested in because we've not invested in the education, in the marketing, in the public sensitization of the amazing work that this department is doing. So open our eyes so that we can open our hearts, so that we can open our minds, and that way we can be able to open our doors for our reformed inmates to be, whether they are employees, whether they are service providers, they are vendors. We need to address that issue of stereotype, but that way. And then the second thing is the partnership I discussed earlier. Then let us sit down. Let us look at what are the opportunities you already so to ongeleshane.
Thank you so much, Ms. That's very. You talked to us about everything education. You talked about the challenges, you talked about the infrastructure. Do you feel that you have adequate technology within your prisons to undertake some of the educational programs that you want to undertake? Do you feel that the IT equipment and stuff are up to date while they are available? Do you feel that all prisons in this country, the 135 for them, even their documentation offices, for example, have adequate computers? So just touch on that, because we have partners here, we have, from different sectors. They'd like, from different sectors. They'd like to know how they can come on board to assist the education department.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. Let me say that the State Department is doing very well, and it has taken it has made some efforts, and there is a lot of strides that have been achieved. But some of these achievements today we are talking about, it's courtesy the support of the partners. And I wanted to take this opportunity on behalf of the State Department to thank those development partners that have been supporting us and are still supporting us, and supporting the programs that we are implementing, particularly that of computers, the use of computers in implementing our programs. They have really been supported by the partners. And we all know that it is very expensive to buy even a single computer or a single laptop. There is also the issue of internet connectivity, electricity connectivity. All that has been achieved courtesy the support of the partners. And for those other partners, probably you do not know what we are doing in our prisons. It is now our call. We are extending our call to them so that they come over and help us do much more that we are doing, not only in implementation of formal education, but in other programs that we are running within our correctional institutions. Something I need to say is that formal education is the foundation of everything, because for anyone to do any training, any grade in trade or anything that one would do, including seeking jobs out there, it all starts with education. So, and there is a very strong correlation between the level of education and the rate of crime and the type of crimes that are being committed. So today, I would rather say that the 3 days that will be here, they will be providing us with a very good opportunity to link, to build linkages, to talk to one another, all about collaboration. So going forward, we would want to get in touch with one another, and I would want to again reach out to those partners who have not
been with us to join us and try to prepare our youth for better persons to be assets in this country and avoid crime. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Let's give all of them a big applause. Thanks so much, our wonderful audience, for having me with us in this first session. I know, as Administrative Secretary Mr. Wanjoya shared, the Honorable Chief Guest will be coming to open the session, the function in the afternoon. So we're going to break for lunch, and then after lunch, I know we'll be hearing from them. Now, when we come back at 2 o'clock, or 2:15, we have about 30 minutes of plenary where you can also ask questions, and you can also give your suggestions and comments, because the rapporteurs are taking note of every thematic area that we are handling. So thank you so much as we break for lunch on behalf of this panel, Dr. Margaret, Annette, Betty, Mr. Njoroge, Dr. Wendy, and my brother James. On behalf of this entire panel and on behalf of this conference, thank you so much for being such a wonderful and amazing audience. I'll give back the program to the MCs.
Thank you so much. Let us give them a heavy round of applause. That was the first panel telling us on how we operate on youth empowerment. Remember, we are the Correctional Service Conference. This is the State Department of Correctional Service, and the two main departments are Probation and Aftercare Services and Prison Service, and we're bringing on board our partners. Don't forget, you are a partner if you don't belong to the two. You matter, and today we are working on making it even stronger. So we are about to break for lunch. We will be seated. Let's wait for directions. Just a moment.
I'm requesting the Commissioner General, Kenya Prison Service, Secretary of Council, and the Honorable Justice to retreat kidogo to the holding room. Niombe sisi tujadiliane tu kidogo kwa dakika moja. Kwa heshima. Asante. We retreat to the courtesy room. When we came to KICC yesterday, the first thing that hit me was shock. Shock because everywhere there are things happening. I don't najua mmeona pia nyingi. Mpaka nikauliza tulikuwa tumeweka registration hapa chini. Nikasema Mungu Baba. Ili please, hivi media hii kwacha tu. Niombe kwa heshima. Hii kidogo ya ndani. This is housekeeping, yes. Na nikasema, how quickly do we ensure that people know we have correctional services? And that's when we start quickly and think about what you found out there. So that hata mtu akiwa kwa gate anaona where we are. And I thank God that we have managed. Secondly, because of that congestion you saw, it means KICC is fully packed everywhere. I'm here again to apologize. And that's why I'm giving this long story to people who are already quite tired because they have absorbed quite much this morning. Because of that, we may have a slight delay in lunch. But we have said that as much as we might have the slight delay in lunch, ni waombe kwa heshima sababu mgeni anakuja kufungua, that immediately after lunch, we all come back to the hall. It would be bad that we have had such a good day. And then wakati mgeni anakuja akuje tuko wachache. Nitaomba sana the session goes up to the end of the opening ceremony. And so my plea to us is, we watch the exhibition. My ushers kindly, if we have not given cards for lunch, we all go for lunch. But first tutengemane hapa nje, tutengamane. Watu wa Kiswahili ni kutengamana. Hiyo, asante sana. Asante sana. tukiongea kidogo as we set for lunch, and after lunch we come back. And thank you for good and very, very understanding audience. Karibuni sana as we continue for lunch. Asante.
Thank you.
We can be watching the exhibition and lunch will be to the left. Is this right? Left? That way, where it's pointing, it's left. That's where lunch will be. Thank you.
One more announcement from me.
Okay, tell us.
Thank you very much. To our station managers, as the Secretary of Administration has alluded to, one of the things that we want to achieve with this conference is to appreciate our stakeholders. And the headquarters, we might not know every stakeholder that you are working with. So we request that every station manager, be it probation and aftercare services or prisons, you take notes of your stakeholders and you hand it over to the Secretariat, because we appreciate them at the end of the 3 days. So kindly, whether it be the different organizations that you work with, the various organizations, so that we appreciate them at the end of the 3 days. Kindly. So you can go to that in a piece of paper and hand it over to the Secretariat. Asanteni.
Alright, basi tunapoelekea kwenye mankuli, hebu vitu tutaendelea kutumbuiza bendi yetu, tutajumuika na hapo Muguna. Naomba mkimaliza mnaweza rudi ndio hivi vitu na wabake. Ashas tafadhali unatakana hapa. Ashas sana mnasikia tafadhali. Kutane na Secretary Administration. Ashas sana nao. Ashas. Thank you.
Sasa yeye ndiye ata Anakuja wanakopi kwa nini wakuje alete. Wanakopi kwa memcard. Mike win. I think I'm going to nini? Nini nikataka kuchukua kwa nini? Nikataka kuchukua nini? Inaonyesha mchele. Huko kwa tukia kaida ile nachukua pesa na hiyo. Jamani
tunaomba mchukue vitu zetu kutoka kwa kiti so that we prepare for afternoon. Kama umeacha mizigo kwa kiti, kwanza tuchukue ili we set up for the afternoon. Thank you. Wale tuko nje, kama umeacha mizigo kwa kiti, tuchukue kwanza, to allow the protocol team organize for the official wedding.
Magic.